Justice and Justices of the Supreme Court of Ohio. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. The Supreme Court of Ohio is in open session pursuant to adjournment. Be seated, please.
My pleasure to welcome you on behalf of all the justices of the Supreme Court of Ohio to this admission regard ceremony. Today is a day to celebrate. It's appropriate that you and your families and loved ones who are here to share the day with you do that. But we would hope that you take a little time during this day to think about why it is you chose the law as a profession. Remember that 39 of the 55 delegates to the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia were lawyers. We remember the contributions of lawyers throughout history to the civility, the measured civility that we enjoy in our country. So at the end of the day, as you celebrate, as you toast, or whatever you're going to do, please take time to be grateful for the fact that you have chosen a profession that has done more to establish and preserve civility in our society, indeed in the world, than any other group of persons. We welcome you to the profession. We hope our profession is a better profession, stronger profession, now that you will be members. There are many who have helped you arrive at this day, certainly parents, grandparents, and members of your family, loved ones, and perhaps good friends, mentors, teachers, not the least of which are legal educators. We're very pleased to have today, to begin our formal ceremony, the Dean of Salmon P. Chase College of Law. Now, some of you know that Salmon P. Chase College of Law is in Kentucky, but about 50% of the graduates and the students at Salmon P. Chase are Ohioans. And so for the first time, it's my pleasure to introduce the Dean of Salmon P. Chase Law School, Gerard St. Amant.
Well, Mr. Chief Justice, I want to thank you for the honor of being the law school representative for today's ceremony that welcomes our newest members into the profession of law. It's a personal honor for me, but it's also an honor for the Salmon P. Chase College of Law at Northern Kentucky University. And it does recognize the fact that the Chase College of Law has a long history in and with Ohio. Our school was founded in 1893 in Cincinnati, and it stayed there until 1972, when it affiliated with Northern Kentucky University. And since then, as the Chief made note, approximately 40 to 50% of our graduates every year become members of the Ohio legal community. Well, to all of the candidates for admission to the bar, and all the families and friends who are here, who have provided that indispensable support for the success of our candidates, I say to all of you, congratulations. Because all of you, as a partnership, are responsible for the success that we're celebrating today. To our candidates, as you sit here today with justifiable pride in reaching this significant milestone, you should also appreciate the enormity of what the Ohio Bar is telling you by welcoming you into the noble profession of law today. Effectively, what the Ohio Bar is telling you today is that we have complete confidence that you are prepared and that you are willing to assume the full range of professional responsibilities that are demanded by our profession. Now, what are those responsibilities? They're numerous. Over the years, I have searched for a helpful, inspirational guideline to somehow capture the full breadth and scope of those responsibilities, but to do it in a shorthand manner that would help me on a day-to-day basis as a flashing beacon. And I found that help in Thomas Jefferson. When Thomas Jefferson was president, he would ask three questions when he would be considering an appointment to a key governmental position. Those three questions were, 1, is he capable? 2, is he honest? 3, is he loyal to the Constitution? Well, those 3 questions for me essentially capture fundamentally how our legal profession has defined its professional ethic and how it's defined our professional responsibilities. Competence, integrity, loyalty to the Constitution. Now, the notions of competence and integrity as professional responsibilities lend themselves fairly readily to a concrete understanding. But the notion of loyalty to the Constitution as a responsibility is, at least at first glance, a little bit more ambiguous. But think about it. The Constitution embodies broad concepts of justice and the rule of law. It embodies Thomas Paine's famous inspirational declaration back in 1776 when we challenged George as the king, when he said, "In America, the law is king." Well, the law can be king only if all people are subject to the law, only if all people have access to the law, only if all people can enforce the law. If all citizens, rich and poor, strong and weak, don't have effective access to our legal system to resolve disputes, then the rule of law is threatened. At that point, self-help or violence becomes the remedy. And ultimately, our freedom, our democracy under our Constitution becomes the victim. The need to ensure effective access by all people to our legal system, to our system of justice, is the underlying basis for expecting, indeed demanding, that all our lawyers perform pro bono service as an integral part of their professional responsibilities. And so, service in the interest of justice is that practical embodiment of our professional responsibility to be loyal to the Constitution. Loyalty to the Constitution and the service responsibility that is implicit in that loyalty demand an overriding commitment by all lawyers to promote justice. And in that context, recall the words of Martin Luther King: "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Now, as you consider what that means to you, and as you search for a role model within our profession, consider the example of the person for whom my law school is named, Simon P. Chase. Although he's best known for the positions he held, he was Governor of Ohio, U.S. Senator from Ohio, U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, and Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. His greatest value as a role model for all of us as we quest and work for justice is not the positions that he held, but rather the service that he provided. In the early to mid-1800s, he was a zealous advocate for the rights of blacks and for women. As early as 1845, he consistently advocated voting rights for blacks. In the 1840s and 1850s, he served as legal counsel for many runaway slaves and for those who helped the slaves. His extensive support earned him the unofficial title, Attorney General of Runaway Slaves. And while his supporters were negotiating his election to the United States Senate by the Ohio State Legislature, at a time in our history when the state legislators elected our senators, Chase insisted that part of the deal would be the repeal of Ohio's black laws that discriminated against blacks. And then as Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, he helped orchestrate the admission of the first black to the Supreme Court. Regarding women's rights, he was an early supporter of reforming property laws in order to give married women control over their own property. He was a pioneer in the employment of women in government, and he was a strong advocate for just compensation for women in work. In many ways, Salmon P. Chase was a man ahead of his time in the pursuit of justice. Well, as you, at this moment now, approach the final few minutes before becoming full members of our legal profession, a noble, service-oriented profession. Make a firm commitment now, before you take your oath. A commitment to maintain the very highest level of professional competence. A commitment to maintain the very highest level of integrity at all times. And a commitment to be loyal to the Constitution in the sense of a commitment to service, following in the steps of Salmon P. Chase in zealously advocating for justice. To our Chase grads in the audience, let me just say I'm very proud of you. I know that you're going to honor the Chase name and you're going to honor our profession. For all of you in the audience today, all of you candidates, I wish you all the very best, professionally and personally, as you embark on a very exciting and a very worthy adventure in the service of others. God bless you all.
One of the strengths of the legal profession is our ability to look beyond our daily lives and our positions or our jobs, whatever they may be, and to do something to improve the administration of justice or our communities, or perhaps our own circle of friends. We use our profession in many ways, our training. One of the ways in which we give back what we have obtained and learned is through organized bar associations, specialized bar associations, and certainly local and state and national bar associations. We're pleased to have representing the organized bar today, the president of the Ohio State Bar Association, Reginald Jackson.
Thank you, Chief Justice Moyer. It is an honor to be here today as each of you come to a milestone in your voyage. You will soon embark on a new journey, a journey that will bring you great challenges and great joys. You have chosen a path that you have chosen, and for each of us, and as for each of you, the path has many similarities. Although there are new laws being introduced almost every day, much of the practice of law comes from learning what was done before us. It comes from our ability to apply someone else's experience to today's circumstances. But take that tradition one step further, because the experience of which I speak goes beyond the framework of the laws and the judge's rulings that you will encounter. The experiences that will benefit your work as a lawyer the most are those of other lawyers. Whether you are engaged in the activities of a professional association, working in a large firm, or a small practice in a small city, engage in discussions with your colleagues. Find out how others found their place in the law and how they found their love of the law. There are more than 33,000 lawyers in the state of Ohio. Learn from our successes. Learn from our mistakes. Learn what it means to practice law. You are not alone. In his work, Life of Samuel Johnson, James Boswell said, "Men are wise in proportion, not to their experience, but to their capacity for experience." As you embark on this new journey, learn from the steps others have already taken. My parents taught me that life in the United States is a privilege, and that one of the ways we share our fortune is to do something to improve the world while we are here. As a lawyer, you have that opportunity. I leave you with one last thought. In everything you do, be honest, be ethical, and work hard. The rest will come.
I'd now like to call to the podium a prominent Ohio lawyer who has the privilege for the last 7 years, I guess, again, of chairing the Board of Bar Examiners. That's the group of lawyers that gave you that easy test so that you could be here today. It's my pleasure to introduce Chairman Ken Seibel, who I think has an important motion to make. Ken.
If the court please, the successful applicants for the examination conducted by your Board of Bar Examiners in February 2001 are here before the court. They have met all of the requirements to take the oath and to be admitted to practice. It is my privilege to move the court to admit these applicants to the practice of law in the state of Ohio.
Thank you. Is there an objection? You're lucky. The motion, of course, is adopted. And now it's my privilege and pleasure to introduce Justice Evelyn Lundberg Stratton, who will administer the oath of office. Justice Stratton.
Would all the lawyers please stand? I will be using the word swear, but if you prefer, you may use the word affirm as you take the oath of office. If you raise your right hand and place and repeat after me, I, and state your name. I hereby swear that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of Ohio. And I will abide by the Code of Professional Responsibility. In my capacity as an attorney, an officer of the court, I will conduct myself with dignity and civility and will show respect towards judges, court staff and clients, fellow professionals, and all other persons. I will honestly, faithfully, and competently discharge the duties of an attorney at law. So help me God. Congratulations, Tom.
Congratulations. We would not want you to leave here without receiving a message from the Supreme Court. It is my pleasure and privilege to introduce, for that purpose, to give you a message from the Supreme Court, Justice Andrew Douglas. Justice Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Justice, Chief Justice Moyer, my valued colleagues, associate justices, other distinguished persons participating in this wonderful ceremony on this great day, members of the bar, including our newest members, their spouses, parents, other relatives and friends, organist Jan Linker, and signer Lori Zupa. I think that's everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, the appropriate thing to do first is to congratulate you on surviving what many of us know to be a combination of the Baton Death March, slow torture, and a marathon race. Notwithstanding, it is also a magical trip of the body, mind, and personality into the vast reaches of the unknown of learning. Your school, your dean, professors, your spouses, boyfriends, and girlfriends, your families and friends are all proud of you. And all of the members of your new profession are now proud to call you professional colleagues. In preparing my remarks for today, I sought advice from my secretary, law clerks of the court, and others as to what I should say that might be meaningful to you. The advice I received was unanimous. Just keep it short. Recognizing as I do that the brain can't absorb more than the seat can endure, I'm accepting that advice. Then it's also my obligation to give you something that might be relevant to your new status in society, that of a well-trained, competent, and trustworthy professional. Following that, I'll conclude with a challenge to each of you as you embark into your chosen field. I know you've heard it said before, and I'll be no different in telling you, that you stand on the threshold of opportunity. Literally, the world is yours for the proper taking. I know whereof I speak. When I, born as the son of immigrant parents, aided by the help and guidance of dedicated and competent faculty and counselors, can end up being elected to the highest court in this state, I can assure you, my friends, that anything you're willing to work for can be yours. All you need to do is make up your mind what you want out of life, what you're prepared, of course, to give back. And then pay the price of hard work and, above all, honesty. You can scale any mountains and reach any heights. Now, for all of these opportunities, what are your responsibilities? Today, this court hands to you the most solemn of trusts. Soon you will be entrusted with protecting the rights and property, the care and well-being of clients, yea, in short, the very lives of others who will depend upon you to perform, sometimes miracles, on their behalf. You'll be required to do this in a competent, confidential manner and for a fee that is reasonable. You will be doing this in a world that will continue to change rapidly, and you will be expected to keep up with the changing world for your clients and friends, because that's the nature of our training and what others expect of those of us who are called, and let me assure you, have the very high privilege of being part of the law. Today marks another great achievement for you, the conclusion of your formal academic training. Does that then mean this is the end, that you are finally educated, that you have accomplished your goal, admission, and not much more is required of you? I would hope that none of you will indulge yourselves with such thoughts. I ask each of you to savor for a few days your wonderful accomplishment. You certainly are entitled to that. But then I would ask you to consider today not an ending, but a beginning. Resolve today that you will continue your education process, because only those of you who do will be truly successful. Remember, the person who is admitted today and stops learning tomorrow is uneducated the day after. This might or might not be a formal type of classroom education. The important thing is that you make up your mind never to let this world pass you by, because you have not prepared yourself to meet new challenges, challenges that will surely come. Benjamin Franklin once said, if a man empties his purse into his head, no man can take it away from him. An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. Each of you has a substantial worth, and now a very substantial skill. Foster that worth and skill. Encourage it, polish it, and let it shine to a world that needs each of you very badly. While at times it might seem that at best you're nothing more than a small cog in a big machine, it need not be so. Permit and in fact require yourself to dream boldly. Establishing and maintaining a positive mental attitude is more than half the battle won. Always look at the glass being half full, not half empty. Remember that no field is so crowded that there isn't room at the top. Now for just a brief moment, let me turn to the families and the friends of the successful candidates. You too are to be complimented. For many of you, the struggle, the sacrifice, and heartache has been personal. It has been a personal victory to see your loved one through to the end. To each of you go their thanks, my thanks, and the thanks of all of us. Those who wait also serve. And candidates, always remember from whence cometh your strength and health. President Kennedy once said the human mind is our fundamental resource. In this regard, your university and its faculty have guided you in developing that fundamental resource. Now the mantle, the eternal flame of awesome responsibility, is being passed on to you. I implore you to each day exercise the first rule: unto yourself, be honest and true. Put honesty first in meeting your obligations. and you will never falter. I know that my colleagues on the court agree that some of the saddest cases we see are those of lawyers who have violated their trust, and we are seeing, frankly, far too many of such cases. Your challenge is now to accept opportunities and responsibilities. This is no different than when an old man approached Ben Franklin soon after the signing of the Declaration of Independence and said to him, "Franklin, I have read your declaration and all the promises it makes. Then I look around at the poverty, the uncertainty, the strife, and I wonder, where is all the happiness that document promises?" Franklin pondered that question for just a moment, then smiled and said, "All that document promises is the pursuit of happiness. You've got to catch up to it all by yourself." You, my friends, have now been properly trained to pursue happiness and professional excellence. You are able to do so. My challenge to you then is, are you willing? We think you are, and we're betting on you. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Douglas. We'd now like to present you with your certificate, one at a time. If you follow these simple instructions, this will go very smoothly. I'll ask that there are ushers on the floor, and they'll ask each row to stand at one at a time, and you'll come to your right, up the steps here, and move across the stage, and someone will hand you a certificate, a member of our clerk's office, and for the first time, we are going to call out your name, as a lot of universities are able to do. We decided we're able to do that too, and so it's the first time we will have done this, so in March of England, the clerk has been rehearsing your names for days, but if a name that's called doesn't sound like yours, but your name matches the one on the certificate, don't worry about what she says. We ask that photographers, we know this is a time that photographs are very important, but we will facilitate the distribution of certificates if the photographers will stay on the side aisles where you are now, because these aisles are going to be occupied. The organ is in a pit. There's a big hole in the floor. You're going to pass that. Now, we all learned about licensee, invitee, something like that. That is an open and obvious danger. We'll begin to distribute the certificates.
Oh, no.
Philip Rowan Batista. Beth Ellen Clark. Jessica Luby Angney. Jerry Chad Stolings. Makisha Houchins Montgomery. Christopher Paul Bray. Kathleen Ann Nitschke. Mary Beth Brookshire Young. Leanne Marie Montgomery. John Anthony Kristen Jr. And Riley Campbell Crandall.
Once again, congratulations to all of the new members of the Bar of Ohio. We're very proud of you. I'd like to thank Jan Linker, who is the organist who has been providing very appropriate, pleasant music for us for years, and who is grateful that none of you fell into her organs. Thank you. And also, of course, to Lori Zuckel, who has been our signer. Again, Lori has been with us for a number of occasions. Lori, thank you. I've been asked to announce and remind you, rather, that there is a reception sponsored by the Ohio State Bar Association. It is in the Galbraith Pavilion, which is to your left. It's in the building, the glass building to your left, and members of our staff and others will be happy to help you find the food and refreshments. After you've done that or before, if you want to pass up the reception, they shouldn't do that already, should they? The Supreme Court is open, and we'd be very happy to have you come across the street to 30 East Broad Street, which is the Rhodes Tower. It's directly north. If you just look right through the State House, it's the kind of rose-colored granite building on Broad Street. And if you come to the third, fourth, or fifth floors, you will see the library, the court, and courtroom, and other facilities that are yours. Obviously, it's a public building. We'd be happy to have you come. An incentive, probably for those who are new admittees, is that you can register as a new member of the bar there, which will save you some time. That's on the third floor. The marshal will please adjourn court.
All rise. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. This open session of the All Supreme Court of Ohio now stands adjourned.